Morning, everyone. I understand I'm standing between you and your lunch, so I shall not take you too long time. And I'd like to give my thanks to David, my colleague, who have just gone through the presentation about what we could do for the financial institutions. And my session is going to talk about the future of seamless payments, which is more probably about consumers' personal experience. Let's start. And before we talk the future, let's think about the history, right? Where we came from. Most of the people in this room probably know Tencent and probably know more about WeChat Pay, what we have done in the country on the fintech side. And so I should not spend too much time talk about what we have achieved. Of course, being one of the leading player, the pioneers in the fintech side, we indeed feel very honored to give the opportunity and also achieve something for the society. But what we have done in the international world, right? So there's a couple of milestones. Starting from 2015, WeChat Pay has moved into the international area, mainly to support the Chinese traveling outside of the country. So by next year, it's going to mark the 10 years anniversary for our internationalization on the fintech payment side. With today, we got 74 countries and regions enabled with more than 1,000 global partners connected with us, and we serve more than 6 million merchants. It's a good achievement, but we're committed to do more. And we don't stop there, all right? And right after we bring the WeChat out of the country, we thought about why or whether we should also experiment something in the local market. So we choose Hong Kong as a market to do a local wallet. So this is where we started in 2016 about the local wallet in the overseas market and the regions, right? Today we have 6 million registered users. We have 150,000 merchants enabled in the Hong Kong market. And we introduced some fairly interesting services there, such as the cross-border remittance, particularly to support the domestic helpers. Right. I did talk about this last year, as we are not a newcomer to SFF. Feel free to visit our booth if you want to understand more. Today, so we do the remittance, cross-border remittance from Hong Kong to mainland, but also to Indonesia and the Philippines. And by end of the year, follow our news, we should have a couple of announcements about our remittance services from Hong Kong to the rest of the region, or rest of the world. And in 2020, we announced a new brand called the Tenpay Global. Right? After years of internationalization of our fintech business, we thought we should have a name to cover what we are doing. And we literally 2 years ago launched this brand during the SFF. Right? So what do we do? As we have tried our cross-border remittance from Hong Kong to some regions and countries, we realized there's a very tangible needs to digitalize those traditional business. So one of the things we introduced is on the cross-border remittance for the rest of the world to mainland China. Right? 2 years after we launched this brand, now we are already covering 100+ markets with 1.3 billion Weixin and WeChat users, which means literally we open the whole country for the rest of the world. Right? We are doing the seamless cross-border payments. This is not only for the individuals, but also for business. Right? So on the left side, for you, I think it's on the left side, is about the remittance services, what we are doing. Right? As I mentioned, with the partners, we have launched it. And the highlights, what are the highlights? People may think, hey, remittance is a very old traditional business. What can you do more? Actually, we indeed do a lot of things more. Right? One thing, we integrate the financial services with the social media. So if we talk about embedded finance, I think we have done one of the pilot for the embedded finance. Once you send the money to your close families, friends, you instantly can chat with them, it notifies that you have done something. You could even customize the skins at the special occasions to deliver a very warm message to the recipient. Right? And remember, just now we mentioned about our Hong Kong wallet. We are one of the very first, in fact, we are the first wallet to make the QR code cross-border transaction happen between Hong Kong and mainland China. And with this, we thought we shouldn't stop only between Hong Kong and the mainland Chinese, all right? What we should do. So middle of last year, we also announced our partnership that we open the whole WeChat system. We invite all the international cards to be able to bind into our WeChat app. Then for all the international travelers, you would be able to pay as a local. So today, for everyone in this room, as far as you have an international branded card like Visa, Mastercard, Amex, Discover, Diners, and UnionPay, then you just bring your cards, bind it into the WeChat app. You will be able to enjoy all the payment facility in the country. Right? You can even enjoy the mini programs. Remember, we have 7 million of mini programs enabled in our ecosystem, and you can do every single transaction there, just like a local. So that's what we have done for the consumers. And on the other hand, the fintech should not only serve the consumers, we are also looking at the business. In fact, business segment probably is even bigger. So what we have done, that's what we call for the business, empowering the local business to go global, especially on the e-commerce side. Right? A lot of merchants, they'd like to sell things on those e-commerce platforms. How can we help them to manage the cross-border payment afterwards, to make the payment faster, secure, and also easier? Right? This is what we have done over the last 2 years. So there are a number of quite established e-com platforms. Once they roll out those embedded wallet services again, it's actually, we are the engine behind it, and we feel quite proud and honored to be there. So that's basically what we have done in the past, right? And through all those exercises, we understand an open partnership model is critical. We call it 1 + 1 + 1. What does it mean? The first one is our Weixin ecosystem. As I mentioned, our billion of users, tens millions of merchants, and any other features linked with the whole system, we committed to open. But even though we are committed to open, we shall not limit it only to ourselves. We also open this partnership to all the business partners, especially for the financial partners. This is the second one. We call it global payment partners. And with those two, eventually we need to find the new ways, the new service platforms, right, with the new technologies going on. So this is where we see the overseas lifestyle service platform becomes more important, like the e-commerce platforms, for example. Okay. So I have spent quite a bit of time talk about what we have done and the idea we want to move the business forward. Then what's next? Now let's talk about the future. Right? So we think Tencent Palm would be something quite interesting for the industry to watch, and we are very committed to promote it. But this is not a solution looking for a problem. So we should think about what are the problems, right? So in the past, we used to use card payment. Today, mobile QR is the thing going on, right? Most of the countries, if not most, lot of countries are experiencing or piloting on the QR payment. Indeed, it does give the convenience that in the past, the card payment may not be able, right? And also with the mobile payment, it does address some of the challenges we had in the past. But is this the best? Or can we make the best better? This is where we think, why don't we think about use something different and probably cooler? This is what we believe Palm technology could make a difference, right? So a bit technical side about how to make it work. If you extend your palm, if you look at it, right, you will see your palm print. But that's not enough to identify a unique person. And also, if we want to apply the technology into the more sensitive services, then you want to make sure there's no or very minimum error could happen. This is where we see, besides palm print, we also need to have the palm vein. And how to read the information from those two and combine them make a unified identity for every single person. This is where the different kind of lights make a role. We need to use the visible lights so that it will bring the palm print from your palm surface. But then we also need to have NRI lights to go through your skin so that we can have an image of your vein, your palm vein. With those two information, then we can unifiedly identify one person, right? Our team has worked years in order to fine-tune the technology and also to make it work in the real life, right? Get the technology is one thing, to make sure it will work. And make it works perfectly for our day-to-day is another one, right? So it takes a lot of testing, errors, but eventually make it successful. So this is how we believe palm could be used in our day-to-day life. And with this, and after all the tests in the country, today we officially announce we are launching the Tencent palm in the global markets. There are a couple of highlights I'd like to bring to your attention. The first one, of course, no medium required, right? So between you and the payment, you only need your palm. The second thing, of course, it is contactless. So people may think, hey, biometric is good. Why can't I just use my fingerprint? But then palm make it contactless. Of course, you may also consider, hey, why I cannot use my face? Just like when you pass through the immigration, right? My face looks great, right? And I'm quite handsome. And most people think you are quite handsome, right? But that's another one. Regarding the precise and also the recognition, the fast and the convenient. Think about your experience when you pass immigration. You probably need to adjust yourself a little bit, right? As I'm a little bit taller than average, most of the time I need to do like this, right? In order to get my face into the right direction. But when you do your payments, do you want to do the same? You like this or like this? Apparently not. This is why when you look at different biometric informations, you would say, probably palm is the most convenient, right? And we make the transaction happen within a second, we could make it faster, but why we don't make it faster? Imagine the day when you do a transaction or when you just easily wave your hands. Do you want to make the transaction happen just like this? Maybe not, right? So this is why we need to fine-tune the technology and the reality. The last but not least is the enhanced security, right? While it looks cool, it looks like we make the movie in your real life, but security is still a heavy concern, right? What if the information is stolen? So this is where we put most of the efforts into this technology, and we bring the financial grade security and the compliance into this application. And today, we also announced very first overseas palm payment pilot in Singapore together with our global partner Visa, right? There are a number of participants, FMB wallet, outlets we could try, and in the future there will be more. And very soon in our PR, you would hear the names of the banks from Singapore who are joining these pilots, right? And on our booth in the hall 2, there are demos. We welcome everyone to go there to try. There's one demo to show the technology. How can the reader read your palm print and the palm vein? And there's another demo to show you how can you eventually make a payment. And palm technology, or Tencent palm, is not only for payment, right? As a hardcore technology, actually it can be used in different kind of scenarios. Name a few: access, transportation, payment, sports, etc., etc. And all those we have already done the pilots, or even in larger scale application in mainland China. So it's something has been used just like years ago when we started the QR, right? We understand the payment journey is endless, right? The future is endless. So there are always new ideas coming into our mind. So we are trying our best to do something, and we understand this is not going to be everything, All right, so the whole industry is here. Everyone is bringing your ideas. We just want to be one of the contributor to the development of the whole industry. And we are also open to our partnership to rest of the industry. There are different ways to partner. We could bring the technical solution. We could do the integration services. We could do the IP licensing, all right? If you need the device, let us know, because we are the one who bring this into the real industry deployment. And if you are merchants, if you are fintech, SaaS players, as I just met a few at our booth, right? We are very happy to discuss in details with you to see what can we make the payment more interesting, okay? And there is also our QR for the linking ID. Please feel free to open your mobile phone, scan, and follow us. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and sorry, again, delay your lunch.